Hi guys. So I'm back with another story. It is story time, I guess. Oh God. This one, you will not believe it, but it really did happen to me. This is like 100% true. No false. 100% true, people. I'm telling you this because the story is outrageous, but this really did happen to me. So let me start from the beginning. So I was in the mall one day by myself. Okay, I roll by myself most of the time, but I remember this day I was in the mall because I was looking for some shoes that Journeys had. And they were some comic shoes, and I was looking for them, but when I got there they didn't have them. So I was just roaming around the mall, and I ran into this girl I used to know from high school, and her name is Stephanie. That is the bitch's real name. Okay, her real name is Stephanie. So you'll understand why I have animosity towards her. So I ran into her, and she's like, Harriet, hey, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. I went to Parkway with her, Parkway Academy. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm talking to her. We're talking and, whatever. And she like a Spanish girl, So sometimes when she used to talk, she used to speak so fast, but I used to hang around her a little bit, so I knew what she was saying, but other people didn't. It was kind of crazy. But she was like, girl, we should link up and blah, 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 and, take my number. So I get a bitch my number, right? Okay, get a bitch my number. Out of the blue one day. Out of the blue one day, right? She calls me. She's like, hey, Harriet, were you busy? And I'm like, no, what's up? She's like, I need a favor from you. I'm like, okay, what's that? She's like, well, I gotta go and get some money from this guy who owes me money. And she was like, and my car's not working. She's like, if you take me, I'll give you gas money. So I'm like, where is it at? She's like, it's in Doral. And I was like, Doral? Where is that at? And I didn't know. I think it's deep in Miami. Yeah, I didn't know. So she was like, don't worry about it. I'll drive, and I'll put gas in the car. So I'm like, okay, no problem, right? So I meet up with her. I go pick her up. She drives. And we're in the car. And sometimes when I'm a passenger in a car and I'm riding for a long period of time, I'll fall asleep. I didn't know how far Doral was. So while we were in the car, I fell asleep like for a minute. Like it wasn't even, I just fell asleep, right? Fell asleep. When we got there, she was in like some nice neighborhood. It was a really nice neighborhood. And she's like, okay, so I'm gonna be back in a few minutes, right? She's like, just wait here. So she gave me my keys, right? She gave me my keys and she went inside. So 10 minutes pass. Nothing. I hear nothing from Stephanie. So another 10 minutes pass. Hear nothing from Stephanie. Then 15 minutes later, she calls me and she's like, hey, I'm gonna be a little bit longer than I anticipated. If you want to come inside and sit down, you can. And I was like, no, I'm gonna just wait in the car, because I'm an awkward person. I didn't just want to go and sit in somebody's house knowing how I am. She's like, no, 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 come inside, come inside. I'll come and get you. So she came out the door. And this is why I don't like people, okay? I don't like talking to nobody. This is why, okay? Being too goddamn nice to people. This is why I don't like nobody. So I go in the house with her, and it's this big ass dude standing at the door, right? I mean, like, big black bald-headed dude standing at the door. He was tall, and when I came inside, he closed the door and locked it. And I was like, just looking around, I felt uneasy. My heart started beating really fast as soon as that happened. Something about the situation just made me panic, but I was trying to keep calm because Stephanie was there. So my eye twitching, thinking about it. My eye jumping. Oh God, oh my God. So I come inside, and soon as you come in, you have to go upstairs. So as soon as we walk up the stairs, I hear music, and it's smoke, like thick, cloudy smoke in the house. And I don't smoke. So I was just like, maybe I should go back in the car. She was like, no, 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 I'm gonna be a little bit longer, so come on. So I'm like, all right, all right. So I should have left. My instincts told me to leave, but I didn't. So she was nudging me like this, pulling me close. She's like, you got your keys, right? And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay. So I'm like, okay. So we walking in, and on the couch is this big fat ass dude with a perm, like fat. He was really big, and he had like slicked hair. It was weird. Like, he had slicked hair and everything, and it was another dude standing in the corner, just standing there like this. And he had a scully on, like a black head scully. And so he's sitting there, and he had this thing on the table, and he had a credit card and was cutting up this white stuff, cocaine, cutting it up. And I'm looking, and I said, I think I left something outside. I gotta go. She was like, no, 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 come on, come on, come on. So I'm like, listening to her. I came. He said, how you doing? The fat dude on the couch. I said, I'm okay. So Stephanie leaves me. Like, she walks away and goes sit down next to him. And I'm looking at her like, what's going on here, right? He said, well, she brought me to you. She brought you to me, I mean. And I was like, he's like, I saw y'all at the mall. I saw her talking to you at the mall, and I told her I wanted to meet you myself. And I was like, for what? And at this point, my heart was beating really fast. And as he was talking, he was snorting cocaine. And I never seen it. I felt like I was dreaming, like something happens to you and it's kind of like in slow motion, like a dream or something. That's what I felt like. He started snorting cocaine, like right in my face. He's not like right there. I was maybe about 3 feet away from him. And he's snorting cocaine, talking to me. So I'm shaking, I'm just thinking about the shit. So he goes, She told me that you living with your mom and your grandma, and you work and, stuff like that, but you making that petty money. And I was like, petty money? He was like, yeah, that petty money. You got a not regular 9 to 5 job and you're not making that much money. And I was like, what does, like, I'm confused. And I'm looking around and I see like stripper shoes and, like heels and bras all over the floor. And mind you, it was all this clouds of smoke in the house. So I turned around and I'm looking, my eyes twitching. Oh, man. I didn't want to tell this story, but I just thought about it. But so the guy goes, I like you. I think you a real pretty girl. And I was like, thank you. He's like, I want to know if you would come to New York with me for business. And I was like, what kind of business? He's like, just business. And I was like, I don't even know you. He was like, well, I would like for you to be my partner. Like, you do things for me, I'll do things for you. You'll always have money in your pocket and this, that, and the third. And I looked at Stephanie and her head was down and she wouldn't even look at me. Like, she knew she had brought me into a bad situation. So, oh man. So he's like, I know your mom and your grandma would love to have extra money. He keeps bringing up money, but she knows the type of person I am, and she explained that to him. So he's basically creeping around the fact that he wanted me to work for him, like be his girl, and he pay me, and I do sexual things for him as he pays me. And oh man, and I was like, no, I'm not into that. And so he goes, well, did Ashley, somebody named Ashley talking about me, did Stephanie tell you what she does for a living? And I said, no, like, I had just got up with her last week at the mall. It was like a couple of days ago I had met her at the mall. So I knew her from school, but I met her at the mall or whatever. Again, we caught up and that was it. And then she asked me for this favor, but she basically set me up to meet her pimp. Yes, he was a pimp. My eye twitching. He was a pimp, and he wanted me to be his girl that he pays for sex and stuff like that. And I was not having it. So I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, what has she fucking gotten me into? So I had my keys, right? I remembered I left my purse in the car, but I had my keys. So he gets up, fat dude gets up, and he really fucking fat, like this fat ass dude gets up and he's like, well, you don't really have much of a choice, I know where you live. I know about your mom, your grandma. I know everything about you. I know you work at such and such an office supply store. He said the name of it. He was like, I know you drive that Crown Victoria. She basically told him things about me. My voice started to crack. And I'm gonna skip certain parts, but nothing bad physically happened to me, but it was a mental thing. So I was like, no, I'm not for that. Why would you? I looked at her, I said, why the fuck would you bring me here? And so he gets up. He's like, why don't you have a seat so we can talk? And I was like, no, I don't want to talk. You know, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. So I turned around to leave, and the big dude at the door was standing there in my way. So at this point, at this point in my life, at that point, I was a very paranoid person. I always carried weapons with me. So on my keys, I had mace. I had a pocket knife on my keys, and my pocket knife was detachable. So was my mace. It was in my pocket. So I wasn't able to get down the stairs. But what happened was, when I turned around, the big dude was there. I kicked him in the nuts and I hauled ass down them stairs. And at this time, my hair was in twists and it was long. So I kicked him in the nuts, and the other dude that was standing at the other side of the couch come running, and he grabbed the back of my head like this, like just yoked the back of my head, and I fell down the steps. And I went in my pocket. I was going in my pocket, and I went in the wrong pocket for my keys. So I went in my other pocket. When I was trying to get both parts, both of the men was coming. So I turned around, I was fighting, like fighting these big dudes, and they was way stronger than me. So they pulled me back up the steps, and man, he was like, Stephanie told me you was a fighter, but I didn't think you was fighting like that. And he's laughing. And he said, why don't you have a seat so we can talk? He was like, you know, I want to change your life. I want you to be my girl and do this and do that, and we could travel. We could do this and we could do that together, you know. And I could help you take care of your mom and your grandma. He kept talking about my mom and my grandma. And I was just like, I don't want none of this. Like, and I'm looking at Stephanie like, ooh, bitch, I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass, bitch. Like, that's what I'm looking at her like. I'm thinking this. When, ooh, I'm gonna beat her motherfucking ass. That's what I kept thinking. Because I knew I was gonna get out of this situation. It wasn't just like I was hoping I would get out. I knew I would get out, you know. So the big dude that I kicked in the nuts was standing behind the chair I was sitting at. And the fat dude sat down across from me on the table, and he's still snorting coke in my face. I never been in no situation like this. And honestly, I never even, at this point, I never thought that pimps were real. Like, I didn't think they were really real and really existed, because I was such a naive girl. And so I had forgot I had put my phone up here, right? I had put my razor, I had a razor phone at that time. I put it up here, and it wasn't detectable because it was so slim. Thank God for those slim phones back then. So when the fat dude was looking at the big guy standing next to me, He was like, go get the stuff, right? And the skinny dude that was standing in the corner like this on the other side by the fat dude, he was looking at me going like this, like, don't even try it, right? So I looked at both of them, and I'm looking really fast, like, and I got up and I just hauled ass down them steps. Like, I was sliding, trying to run so fast I fell down the steps. Skinny dude coming, I grabbed my knife and I just stabbed him, like, pop, and I turned it. Learned that from the movie Face Off. I stabbed him and I turned the knife, and then it was double locks on the door, so I unlocked it real fast, and I see the big dude coming out the door. The fat one, not the fat one, but the big black dude that was standing by the door. I saw him coming, and I was running out, and he grabbed the ends of my hair as I was running out, and I turned around and I did like this to his nose, like, because he was really tall, like real tall, and I just did like this. I'm fighting him, punching him, punching him, and I kicked him in the nuts again, and he fell. This time I ran to my car. My car door was locked, and I had to get my keys and unlock the door. And they was coming, and I got in my car, backed up, and I was finna run him over. Like, I'm about to cry thinking about this shit. Because it was such a scary, horrific moment in my life, because I got away. I knew I was going to get away. So I backed my car up, almost hit another car trying to get out, and I zoomed the fuck off, zoomed off. And I'm thinking, oh my God, they know what my mom and my grandma stay. Oh my God, what am I going to fucking do? So I was going to call my mom, and I was like, no, my mom going to overreact. What the fuck am I supposed to do? So, oh man, I tried to get home, but I didn't remember how to get back because she drove, and I never been this far deep in Miami before, so I didn't know. So I was scared, and I started crying like, damn, how the fuck am I going to get home? I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. So I'm looking through my phone, and I called LJ. Remember LJ from the story a few videos back? I will link it below. His real name is not LJ, but I called LJ because he is from Miami. And I told him what happened, and he just starts going off on me. Why the fuck would you go with that girl? And da da da, you don't know what could happen. And I'm like, I ain't got time for you to be yelling at me right now. I need to get the fuck from out of here. Like, please come and help me. So I told him what street I was at, and he came all the way over there to come and get me and drive me home. He drove his car, and I followed behind him. And as soon as we got to an area where I was comfortable and I knew where I was, I drove off and went home, and he followed me. So as soon as he gets out of the car, I hugged him, and I was just crying. I was like, thank you for coming, because I was so scared to call my mom. I don't want my mom to know about this. And I was just frightened, right? And he was like, you should call the police. And I'm like, no, I don't want to call the police because I don't know. Like, I didn't want to call the police. So after that, I'm shaking. I experienced a lot of stress from that. Like, I was having nightmares. I would wake up screaming because it was a scary situation. But the fact that I had faith in myself, that I knew I would get the fuck out, that's what got me through it. Because I knew I wasn't going to stay there. I wasn't finna be no prisoner. I knew that shit. I knew it. I was not going to stay no prisoner. I knew I was going to get the fuck out. And I got the fuck out. By a month and a half later, I had not heard from Stephanie since that whole incident. A month and a half later, she called me. And I'm like, hello? And she's like, Harriet, it's Stephanie. And I was like, bitch, what the fuck you want? And she's like, I'm so sorry, but he beat me and he told me that I was supposed to bring you because he really wanted you. And I'm trying to get out of this situation. I felt bad for her, but at the same time, I wanted to beat her ass for putting me in that situation. So she goes, he wanted to know all this information about you, but since you got away, don't worry, nothing's gonna happen to you. And so I'm just like, because nothing happened after that. Like, he didn't come to my house, he didn't send nobody to me, nothing like that. So Stephanie was like, I tried to make sure that you got out, that's why I gave you the keys, because I knew what was going to happen, but I know you a fighter, I knew you would get out. And so she started bringing up this fight I had got into at Parkway with this girl named Passion. And I busted Passion's eye open, like literally busted her eye open. So she's like, I knew you was a fighter, so I knew you would get out. And she was like, that's why I gave you the keys and made sure before we went up the stairs that you had the keys. And she's trying to make it seem like she was trying to help me and all this other bullshit. And I understood, but at the same time, I wanted to beat her motherfucking ass for putting me in that situation, because it literally fucked me up. Like, I have PTSD from that situation and some other situations that had happened to me, because I thought I would end up being a prisoner. I wouldn't get out, but I had faith in myself. I was like, I'm getting out of this situation. I'm not staying in this. I'm not going to be no prisoner. I ain't going to be nobody's slave. I had faith. I'm shaking just thinking about the shit, because it was just, man. I told her I didn't want to talk to her no more, lose my number. I ended up changing my number after that. And I have not heard from Stephanie in a while. She did apologize a bunch of times, because she's like, he was beating me. He beat me, and he wanted me. I didn't want you to come, but he beat me. And basically, she in the sex pimp game. She's in it, or whatever it's called. She's in that sex industry, and she can't get out. He done threatened her family and this, that, and the third, and he done did this and that. And I'm just like, why would you even put me in that? Like, she talking about he would have kept beating me and he would have did this. She wanted me to feel bad for her. But at this point, I felt bad for her, because I don't know if somebody did that to her. Like, somebody brought her to him or whatever the case is. I don't even know. But she could have, man. This story is 100% true. There is nothing false about it. I never really told anybody about this. So, yeah. My eye twitching. So yeah, like, I'm happy I got out of that, because, man, I'm just happy I got out, I haven't heard from Stephanie. I don't know what she been up to. I don't know if she got out, whatever the situation was. But I didn't want any type of retaliation done to me or my family if I had called the police. So he never bothered me again, but I don't know, you know. But I did tell LJ, I was about to say his real name, so he would help, like he would look out for me, like, you know, come by my house to make sure everything was okay, nothing was suspicious, you know, for the first couple of days after the incident. And yeah, I didn't want nothing bad happening to my family, pretty much. Because he was telling me my information, you know, that he found out. I don't know if she told him or, you know, whatever the case is. He knew my information. He knew my name, my mom, you know, because we all have the same name. But he knew about us, you know. So he knew where I worked. He knew what car I drove. He knew what kind of car my mom drove. He knew what kind of car my grandma had. So I was like scared. He was basically like scaring me into staying, but I didn't want to stay in that. I was not about to stay in that. Um, I fought like hell to get the fuck out because they didn't know that I had weapons. But yeah, anyway, I keep twitching and I'm shaking. Um, that's it. That is the entire story. And again, this is not false. This is 100% true. This really did happen to me. So yeah, that's it. And I will talk to y'all later. Bye.